Well, hello Twitch and hello the latter, which will be on YouTube. Welcome to the TPP Podcast. I am Diehard. I am joined by Admin Animal and by Afro, who is the GM of, is it Friday Night Fire?
Yes, it is, sir.
Okay. All right. And before we begin, Afro is going to tell you a little bit about himself. Let him feel real comfortable with all of you here. So.
Well, hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Afro Gentleman. I am the general manager of Power Wrestling's Friday Night Fire. Been on Xbox for quite a long time now. Learned the ropes, gained experiences, good and bad. I'm a fan at heart, wrestling fan. Always loved wrestling. Always like to create. That's just what I do. I love to create characters, storylines. I always had a interesting imagination, and hopefully, it has been channeled through Power Wrestling, and I just hope that I can help other people to bring forth their visions so they can have an entertaining time on WWE or TK or whatever, just having a good time and have fun.
All right. And see, now that was a perfect lead-in introduction there about having fun and, wanting to entertain and give people something to watch or, like you said, just something to give people something. It's a way of giving back, so to speak. It's kind of how I look at it. And that kind of goes right into this weekend. For the power plant, we have our Network Collision event this weekend, which is kind of like... it's the final event before our final event. So it's our bigger, I don't know how to word this. It's a big event, but it's not like the biggest event we have. And then you guys have Injustice on Sunday.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
And then can you tell the viewers a little bit about Injustice?
Well, the way Power Wrestling works, in order to progress storylines and to ensure that everybody else is getting a fair amount of time in, we cut our seasons half a year. So every 6 months will be a new season or a new year for us. And we have 3 main pay-per-views, and then we have 3 pay-per-views we come up with every season or year. And Injustice is one of them. It's just a feel-free, fun thing where it's pretty much a hero/villain kind of theme. And Afro, he designed the arena, so I'll give him the props to all that. And everybody can have fun and create a superhero attire for their characters, or villain attire, whoever they feel like dressing up as. But there'll be plenty of storylines going on over there. And everybody's more than likely going to tune in. I mean, everybody more than likely they're going to choose superheroes that basically apply to their gimmick. For example, we have one guy who has Zach Newton. His gimmick is he's an amazing guy. He does a lot of things amazing. So he's supposed to be Flash, flashy, like flashing, amazing stuff like that. So it's very interesting to see who these characters pick as their heroes. And another example would be our BWO group. It's going to be very interesting. I won't spoil it, but the people that they attend as will be very interesting because their gimmicks is based on Black unity and Black power, and they're all for the Black and against the white. So it's pretty interesting. Afro, you want to add anything?
He pretty much covered it. We try to come up with interesting themes for our pay-per-views. Injustice, and we have another pay-per-view down the road called LOL, kind of like a social media type themed event. So we try to come up with different things to keep things, interesting and, something watchable.
All right. And then just so everybody knows what they're watching right now, they're watching Chris Jericho versus Eddie Guerrero in an Iron Man match. And as you saw, Eddie Guerrero right at the beginning just started running at Jericho. I don't know why. Evidently he doesn't like him.
Is that computer?
Yeah, this is all computer. I got it set to Epic. I got my sliders set, and they're not initiating the reversals like they're supposed to be.
I don't know why kids play the way they play.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The computer cannot sim at all. They cannot tell a good story. Once in a while I get a good match, but not very often when I do they'll start pinning off of just regular arm bars like that. So
who knew?
I guess we're going to, that was kind of the first topic was just, the plans for this weekend, and those that follow the Power Plants channel or channels, I should say. I've uploaded my little video talking about the numerous podcasts we're going to have. We have tonight's podcast, which is the TPP Podcast, and then instead of doing a pre-show for Network Collision, we're going to do another podcast, which is as many of the TPP guys as I can get on. Of course, there's always life situations that happen, but it's just going to be like pretty much a big open kind of Q&A thing. So if people are here now, it will have the Twitch chat box up and everything, and you'll be able to tweet it to us and be like, hey, look, this question's for, Scythe. How does it feel to know that James Mackay is going to kick your ass or something? Whatever it may be, whatever the questions may be. That doesn't have to be one of your questions, but. So that'll be Saturday night at 6:30 Eastern. We'll start that up, and then Network Collisions at 8. And then Injustice, what time is that going to be available on Sunday?
I could say probably as early as 6 p.m.
Okay. So now you guys know. So you got a whole weekend full of stuff. You got a whole weekend full of stuff to watch.
Yeah. And then we also have our High Voltage. Once a month, we do a rookie show called High Voltage, where all recent recruits, they join and they get to show off their talents and get voted off of High Voltage onto one of the main brands, either Afro Show Fire or My Show Terradome. And it's a handful. A lot of these new people, they come in, and it's very hard to get them to cooperate and communicate. But at the very least, those who do appear on the show, at the very least, they get their TV time, I should say, and they get to show off what they've learned for the short time that they joined and everything. But if you guys want to watch it, it should be available Saturdays, somewhere between the morning and the afternoon. It all depends on the new recruits, because to be honest with you, High Voltage is the only show that Afro and I do not touch. The scenes, the promos, the matches is all done by the members, and they are the ones who are trying to impress the viewers, not us. So that's what makes the show very interesting.
Exactly, and so that's a unique way to to run that particular branch of power wrestling. With like you said, the members themselves are putting that together. That's a unique and a very trusting thing to do. Most people, they won't do that trust. I'm not even one that does that kind of trust with people, but it's one of those things maybe I could look into, but I don't know. It just depends. But I think that's really good. It's good to do that. It's good to branch out and allow people to show their creativity and.
Indeed, that's what we're all about.
That's right. And then, so associating with other leagues and feds, I know, well, if anybody watches the Power Plant, they know that we associate with numerous places. We have our promotional spot, with our show being brought to you in part by like MCW, Power Wrestling, RCW. And then there was a couple other ones, but, they just haven't sent their logos yet, so I can't put them in yet. Otherwise, there'd be more in there. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Do you think it helps your show, hurts your show?
I believe that it kind of gives a community kind of feel to it. I've always enjoyed like indie wrestling and how they sometimes could collaborate with other wrestlers, and it just showcases good talent. When it's done correctly and done with the best of intentions, it can, end up being something special. As long as, all parties are in it for the right reasons, it can be beneficial to all leagues that are involved.
Oh, yeah. And, I think one of the biggest plus sides, like you said, it gives, it furthers the sense of community, building not just business relationships, but like friendships, you get to connect with people that you normally wouldn't get to connect with. But I guess, although that may be the biggest plus side, one of the downsides to that is there's a possibility that later on down the road, you may no longer be associated with a certain, group of people. Mm-hmm. And if you had a stretch of shows that were like, oh, yeah, hey, go check these people out, sometimes it's kind of like, relationships change. That's just the way things happen.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Did you want to add anything, admin, or?
Yeah. Yeah, because that's one thing Power Wrestling tries to do. Because like I said before, from the previous podcast I was on, is about having an open mind. And me and Afro, we are open to a lot of ideas. We're open to a lot of people. You know, it's one of those. We're the type of people where we welcome all people, but if you screw us over, then it's pretty much, you got to be on about your business. But we try to open up to other leagues, and I've talked to various people, league owners, and I'll try to add them as affiliates, or try and help each other out, different kind of things. And it's all about the approach. I have a lot of league experience outside of just WWE. I used to run a few leagues for different games and everything, and it's all about approaching people the right way. And normally I would approach people trying to explain to them an idea of community, what is about playing a game and not being cheated, or let's be honest, you can't buy a game and be told how to play it. You spend your $60 or whatever amount of money, and for someone to tell you how to play, you're gonna look at them, what the hell are you talking about, right? But at the same time, every game has its flaws, and there's a certain group of people out there in this world who want to play the game and enjoy it without even noticing the flaws. And that's what leagues are for. Leagues are for communities that don't want to deal with flaws of the game, or just certain aspects of the game. Sometimes you have a cheese league out there and all they want to do is hack. That's perfectly fine if that's their preference, but it's all about the community. And a lot of times that's why I try and approach people and explain to them, it's about the community and growing as a whole. A lot of people, they tend to fray away if, first thing they hear is gaming or wrestling, and they don't understand that it's not just about gaming, and it's not just about wrestling. It's a community. You're trying to achieve something as a whole, and a lot of times I would get frustrated because people would just reject me, like, oh, you're not big enough, or you don't know this, you don't know that. Well, it's like, why would you do that? Why would you not just say, why don't you try this, or have you done this yet? Certain things to help each other, and that's
Exactly.
one of the reasons why I come to you a lot, Die Hard, because you're very open, and you have no problem giving me advice or answering questions. It's people like you, and there is other people too, but that's what we're looking for. We're looking for help, and if we were to help anybody else, we would have no problem with it. It's just a lot of leagues out there, the owners, they're just very egotistical, I should say. All they care about is themselves and their leagues, and all they want to do is tell people to do it their way or take the highway, basically. And that's not what it's all about when you're talking about affiliations and helping each other out.
Yeah, exactly. And did you want to add something to that, Afro, or?
He hit the nail on the coffin. I mean, it's just, you have to take yourself out of the picture and realize that it could be bigger than it is bigger than all of us. I mean, we're trying to build an environment where everyone can have an opportunity to showcase what they can do. I mean, there's times where I feel like we can do everything by ourselves, but what's the fun in that? You want to have people showcase what they can do. Like we have a lot of veterans now, I guess you can say. When we first met them, I mean, they'll let they were a little awkward about it, and we were awkward about stuff. But as we grown and matured and evolved, we come up with so many different good ideas, and it's good to feed off of each other. And
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of those important aspects is when you do start working with other places, and like Animal was saying, I mean, when it comes to people that work with me, I am like an open book. I mean, like Animal, I've been in this for a long time, and I've seen good times, I've seen bad times, I've seen dark times, I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff that I never thought I'd see ever. And so when somebody comes to me and legitimately or genuinely wants some guidance or advice, whether it's what settings to record on, or like to hire somebody, fire somebody. I'm not saying they have to come to me, if they're gonna hire or fire somebody.
Right.
But if they need that input, I'm more than happy to give it.
Yeah, and that's what we try and preach to people a lot of times too. Because and we we get a lot of random messages from people and insults and threats, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's stupid what you're doing," and it's a video game. Yeah, it's not real. We're like, it's just that mentality where it's just certain people that have that mentality where they can't see, and so they're pessimists. They don't see the future. They don't see the positive side of things. And I tell people all the time that it goes beyond what you see. You just have to be creative. You have to have the vision. The sky is only the limit, And what me and Afro, we talk all the time on different ideas and where power wrestling could wind up. It could go in so many directions, and we try and tell people stuff like this, and they don't see that. The only thing they see is a brick wall. Like, oh, I'm not making money off of this. Oh, screw you guys. It's it's just hard trying to get these people to see what we see. Not everybody can accept the vision and have that aspect of creativity, but it is what it is.
That is very true, and for some odd reason, it's like picking up the fan interaction from the game. I don't know why. I got the game audio turned down, and it's still picking it up, little bits and pieces. So I do apologize for that if you guys are here, if that's coming through. Like, I just heard it through my through my little earbuds, but I do apologize. And then
cool.
We're gonna, and I mean, it's a game. Like, again, it's the game. We can't fix that.
Yeah.
THQ, they're to blame for that.
Yeah.
God bless him.
That's why.
And then, so, this kind of goes hand in hand with associating yourself with other leagues and, other people within other leagues. But lately, there's been a good portion of returning people that were, I don't want to say they were exiled from the community, but the way that they left wasn't exactly the best way to leave. And so recently, they started coming back a little bit on Twitter, namely Shannon Silvera and Keith Mason, both very heavily involved in TXW, especially, Silvera, he was the owner of TXW. And just a few days ago, I mean, this was maybe a week, and he announced that he was back and stuff, and I was looking at my Twitter feed, and there's a lot of stuff on there about this guy, and I've had a run-in with Silvera before, and he says he's changed now compared to what he was like, but for me, that remains to be seen.
Right.
Do you guys have any thoughts on that? I mean, like, do you think it's better to just fade away, go out with a bang, or try to make a comeback and try to,
Well, it all depends who you're dealing with, because we have a few similar situations, because like I said, we get so many messages, rumors about people doing this, people doing that, and that includes people trying to get back into the league. And like I said, it's numerous people for whatever reason. And to be honest with you, I guess it depends on your values as a leader. Basically you're running a business, and that's the way things are set up. It depends how you want to do things. If me and Afro, we're very kind, but we know how to put our foot down. We're very kind, and when people say they change and can they get another opportunity, another chance, we tend to give them a little space. We say, okay, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. Or if somebody wants to make a comeback and they left on bad terms, we try and talk to them and see if there's any changes. Then we decide, whether or not it would be cool. So I guess it would just depend on who you are as a person, and at the same time, you got to think about the kind of example you want to set for your members or for other league members. Because from a member's point of view, I think what they're going to see is a league owner, how they interact with other league owners. Regardless of who it is, they want to see how business is conducted on that level. And when it comes to you and this guy Silvera, people are they're gonna watch you. It's kind of like kids. Not to offend anybody, but that's basically how it is. It's kind of like kids watching their parents. They want to see how the big guys are going to interact and who's going to bury hatchets or who's going to try to actually make things appear better than what they are. It's just all about setting an example, and it's all about you as a person on how you go about setting examples, I believe.
Oh yeah, and then did you want to say anything, Cafro, or Cafro? I mean Afro. Sorry.
Um, like Animal said, we've dealt with so many different personas and attitudes over the past, months, and it's just a matter of, presenting yourself professionally. I don't know if he's reminded people, but that's the P in power, professional. That's how we like to carry ourselves, and we
Amen.
we expect that to a certain degree from our roster, and people who join, we we really stress that you handle yourself as a business person. I mean, even out in the world, you have to, you have to present yourself in a professional level. It's
That is
just,
very true.
yeah,
Because even if you worked at McDonald's, it's not like you can just go in there and, you know, publicly you say how much you hate your job in
exactly.
front of everybody and expect nothing to
Yeah.
happen, you know.
It's just a certain decor. You just have to present yourself.
Yeah, wants to
Exactly. And
see some professionalism. I mean, you have those people who feel like they're entertained by a bunch of people going at it and just doing whatever they can to get revenge and stuff like that. But it's more respectable when you see people do things the right way. I'm going off a little bit. I'm going off topic a little bit here, but as an example, that's why I try and tell new members and current members of our league, and even people that I just come in contact with and they don't join. It's from other leagues. I try and explain to them that it's wrestling, and in wrestling there's stories and there's journeys. You can't just come in and expect to get a title shot. You get a title shot and you win. The title means nothing. There's no prestige. You have to have a journey. When you
Exactly.
achieve things, it means more to you when you go through a journey. If you got jumped 5 times, like Daniel Bryan or so, then finally win a championship, you're going to feel good because you went through hell and back to get where you are. It feels good to finally achieve something. So if you, start, for example, again, I don't want to, offend anybody, but I hear a lot of things about TXW and a little bit on their route. But if you start at TXW, and then you wind up going down, down, down from league to league and stuff like that, and then you finally get on that level that you were again on TXW, then it's like you went through a journey. You have something to talk about. If I go to one member and ask them what's your experience with this league, or what's your experience with leagues, period, and they can't tell me anything, then it's like, how much do you value yourself? What have you done to feel like you deserve to just be handed any kind of title, any kind of success, and that's what we try and tell people. With anything in life, you just have to you feel better when you go through a journey opposed to just being handed everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to be handed $1,000,000 though.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything comes with
And everything comes in a price,
I bet
exactly.
you someone right there waiting to take half of it. Give me that, give me that.
But I definitely agree with that because as easy as it is, to have stuff just handed to you, like you said, you feel more accomplished and you ultimately feel more successful,
Exactly.
you know, if
And
you have to struggle.
Right.
and the fans, you want the fans to go on the journey with you. I mean, how can they do that when there's no substance behind your victory? Like in some of our parties, like we would just feed off of stories and old matches we've had and classics, quote unquote. I mean, that's what we're aiming for, like a journey and stuff to fall back on. And it's something about coming from one point to another, and then you can tell a story.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, anybody can get from point A to point B, but it's that journey that happens in between point A
Exactly.
and point B.
Not always about
And occasionally take a detour to point C and you come back, do
Exactly.
whatever you got to do. But it's
Yeah.
always about what happens in between that. The beginning point and the ending point, that's why they are called a beginning and an end, because it's all about what happens in the middle there. And
Exactly.
I firmly agree with that. To the fullest extent, I will always agree with things like that. When somebody says something like that, it reinstates my faith in the community.
So, what's your opinion, Die Hard? As far as you go, you had your journey and everything. Do you feel like you should? I want to make it seem like a negative thing, but at the moment, this is the word that come to mind. I would say, do you feel like you should feed into the rumors, of the return of Shannon and, bring yourself back and actually, I don't know, coincide or just have encounter. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but do you think you should basically involve yourself?
Well, it feels like a two-way street in that sense, for the simple fact that we did have, we had a very heated discussion a couple of years ago, and that was, the last time we talked. That was it, that was that encounter, and that was it. And then after that point, it was just, we both kind of black sheeped each other, and so by him coming back on Twitter, and he posted this really long tweet on the Twit Longer thing, and he was like, hey, I'm not the same guy I was before. I know I've wronged a lot of people over the years, and reading that, I was like, well, maybe he really has changed, and I'm sure maybe he has. If he's changed, great, and if he was to approach me, I would talk to him, as long as he can approach me in a professional manner, and not just be like, F you, Die Hard, whatever. Because that's usually what I get for, like, my random messages, like, F you, Die Hard. It's like, that's great.
Yeah, we get those. And normally, if I'm in a good mood, I'll just respond to the person and ask them, what's the problem? Why are you insulting me? What do you want from me? If I'm in a bad mood, it's simple. It's either two choices if I'm in a bad mood. Either one, I just block communications, or two, I wind up hurting their feelings, and then I block communications. And I try and be very nice. And I don't know if everybody's seen my video, but I recently had an age video, and I just couldn't take it no more, because between all the random messages and the amount of times people try and just poo on us, it got to a point where it's like, I'm just fed up. I can't block communications anymore, because apparently they just keep coming. And then you try to sleep it off, and you try to tell people this is Xbox, this is online. Do you really have a life, to the point where you gotta ignore your own life to come on to Xbox and start insulting people you don't know? And to be honest with you, I kind of left things alone. But I woke up one morning and I saw your video, Die Hard, and that's when I just said, you know what, I'm gonna make my video. I'm gonna voice my opinion to these kids or to these grown men trying to start trouble on Xbox Live. And I'm like, why? Just what's the point? What's the point?
Well, I think part of it is when you do a video like that, and I've noticed a lot of people do it in the wrestling games, because what it does, I think it allows you to alleviate all that weight off your shoulders. Because the thing is, if you are a passive-aggressive person, or just a passive person, or even if you're aggressive, I mean, there's certain things that you just don't say. Like you don't say it at normal times, and then it'll come out at later times. And usually it's pent up with everything else built up, and then it's usually that one big, final thing that just overfills the toilet bowl, and you're just like, you know what, this shit's about to hit the fan, and that's the way it usually happens. And sometimes, like, depending on, how many anonymous people, like, send you the Ask FM stuff, or, the random messages on Xbox. And one thing that everybody needs to realize is people are human. We all have our limitations. And I talked about this on the last podcast that Animal was on, but I'm a normal guy. I've got my limitations, people can say almost anything they want to say about me, but when they start involving, like my wife or my son, then it kind of takes on its own little.
Yeah, it's crossing the line.
Yeah, exactly. It crosses the line, and it puts me not into Die Hard mode. It puts me into, I just want to rip your fucking face off mode.
Exactly.
Like earlier today, was it today? It was either today or last night. I had caught myself, and Afro and a few other members, it was some random kid just sent me a message like, F you, go F yourself, and shove this up your ass. And, I quickly replied with a voice message saying some things I would normally not say to a human being. But before I hit the send button, and as I'm being egged on by people in the party, I said to myself, don't do it. So, I was nice enough not to hit the send button, because I'm like, this is a kid. I know it's a kid. He don't know what he's saying. So I wound up discarding the message, and, I'm just asking him, what's the problem? Why are you sending me messages like this, But it's stuff like that I don't normally do that will occur, because it's uncalled for. People just cross the line. I have a big problem when people just come to me with stupid, unnecessary stuff. It doesn't make sense to just randomly insult me. You don't know me. You have no life in order to be coming to me just telling me some insult that you thought about or that you just had to get out. It has nothing to do with me. But stuff like that is like I feel like strangling somebody, you know. But, you know, in order for me to, you know, take a stop, take a break, say, okay, how can I not hurt this person's feelings? And how can I go on about my business? And it's just me as a person, that's what I have to do in order to not make another rage video like I did before. But we all human. We get to those points.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing, you know. Like you said, we're all human.
Personally, I see it as a compliment. Whatever I'm doing has caused you so much grief that you feel that you need to express yourself to me in a negative fashion. That's fine. But to me, you're just an afterthought. So let that be known to all the flamers out there. We don't know you, nor do we care. So, you know, go about your business.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing. And one of the most flattering things to like a troll or, you know, a hater is they feel that when you acknowledge them, they feel that you're going to continue to acknowledge them after the fact, you know, after the rant or whatever it is. And what really irks them and makes them mad is when you no longer acknowledge their existence or acknowledge the issue, you know, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And I recently had not a sit down, but I was in an Xbox party with a good friend of mine about this, and I told him, I was like, you know, because he was involved in the situation with the guy in the competitive kind of side of the community and stuff, and I told him, I was like, look, you guys are kind of at a stalemate here. I was like, whichever one of you just lets this go first, you'll be better off.
Right.
You know, and hopefully he took my advice, and, you know, I'm hoping that's the case because I'm friends with both of those guys. So it's like, you know, it's like, you know, I don't want to be put in the middle of this. And I told them both the same thing. I was like, you know, just let it go.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
It takes, you know, maturity. And we do a lot of that within our league and outside of our league too. It's just some people, they have a hard time letting things go or being the bigger man and saying, well, you got it, take it. Let's leave it at that, you know. Let the person feel good about whatever it is. But eventually, you know, hopefully they'll come along and it's like, okay, we can get back to being normal and stuff like that. It's all about being mature and being able to communicate with the person you're having problems with as well. But, I mean, I take that back. It takes cooperation, actually. It takes two because, you know, I've seen it happen with myself and other people. You can be the bigger man and you could bury the hatchet, but the other person would just be so evil that they just, you know, can't get back to normal. You know, there are those type of people out there, and it's just like, why do you put yourself through all that stress, all that headache? You know, you have those people too who will call you every day, ask for clan battles, and it's like, it's ridiculous. You know, you have those people who send you messages every day telling you suck, and it's just like, it's not necessary. It's really not, you know. But it takes cooperation on some level, but it takes maturity on all types of levels. That's what I...
Oh yeah, definite. And maturity is, how do I say this without sounding like an asshole? But maturity is not a strong suit within the community. You know,
No,
I think almost
true.
Exactly. I think that almost everybody will agree with me when I say that. But it's not the strong suit. It wasn't a very, I don't know, when they were doing the online, I don't know, I guess they figured they were like, well, you know what, everybody's going to be so mature playing these games, we don't got any problems. I'm sure that somebody in that meeting was like, you know what, when we introduce the online aspect of it, as great of a feature as it is, there's going to be so many people, you know, or X amount of people that are just going to be assholes about everything, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's true. You, for whatever reason, you just always want to have that person or those people who just don't want to be nice. You know, that's the nicest way I could put it. But, you know, and it takes an effect. You know, I'll be honest with you. You know, going through all this stuff recently with all the haters and everything. You know, Afro and I, we're starting to see just exactly how leagues can be if it gets out of hand, if things grow. And we have a no drama policy too. You know, but when you have more than one person or most people come in with drama, they're not accustomed to how things are already. So you have to deal with it. Then you have to talk people down. It's like it's not necessary. So we started talking about tightening up our roster and making sure that not just anybody comes in and tries to join, because a lot of these people, they come in, they hard-headed, they don't want to listen. So it's better to actually focus on what you got before you start inviting more people in. So
Oh yeah.
if not now, soon, we're going to close registrations for a while before we allow more people to come in and start all this trouble, because it takes time away from both me and Afro, and we don't need that. We do two shows consistently. We have 32 weeks worth of shows, pay-per-views, and events, and it's not an easy job at all. It is not easy doing any of this stuff, but we do it because we love it. This is what we like doing, and we have a passion for creativity like this. So we're going to do it whether people hate on us or not. Like me and him started basically with no members. It was just us two and our creativity, our creations, and people just basically joined and they have fun. They enjoy bringing their visions and creations to life. But as far as the league goes and the league aspect of it, having other people interact and everything, you have to basically respect what we're doing, because we're not only human, we're grown men. We're not children. We're not here to argue with you. We're here to do something that we promise ourselves we would do, as well as others. We don't have time for childlike activities. We have a job to do. So that's why we recently came to certain decisions about strictening up our league and our roster and making sure everything is at the standards that we expect it to be at the very least.
Yeah, well, exactly. And one thing that if anybody's in any leagues, just remember, for every incident that comes up, if it's a negative incident, that takes away from time for the show. It takes away from editing time, recording time.
Yes.
So many numerous things. It just takes away from it. And sometimes you get situations that end up stretching far beyond what they should be. Like recently, like 2 days ago, I think. Yeah, 2 days ago, one of my developmental guys decided he wanted to quit. And I wouldn't, it wouldn't have been such a big issue. Normally, if somebody's going to quit, normally you just tell your boss. You're just like, hey, look, things aren't working out or whatever.
Yeah.
Instead, he tweeted it publicly out, so for all of his followers and for all of my followers to see. So I was like, okay. I was like, if we're just going to publicize. So I just posted a longer, tweet about it. And I just kind of went over, it's okay. It's okay that you're leaving. Have fun where you're going.
Okay.
I then got called a couple of various names, and it is what it is. I hope in the best. I do not wish any ill will on him. I know he's got a kid. So I sympathize in that sense. But I wish he would have just direct messaged me on Twitter instead of.
I feel like I need to just say to all of you children out there, or grown men who act like children, when CM Punk did it on a program called WWE, it was a storyline. It was cool at the time, but when you go out and do it in public, it's childish and it's not cool. No one thinks it's cool, so stop doing it. Thank you.
Well, like when I saw it, I was like, oh man, I was like, this isn't gonna be good.
Necessary, and let me take the time to actually call out and just do a little bit of continuation from my 5th Animal Rage video too, because for those of you who've seen it, #BattleOver, that who decided to go publicly and disrespect Power Wrestling. Notice, and I'm pretty sure he's seen the Friday Night Fire. Notice how he quit and he talked trash about Fire and Power Wrestling as a whole. We had nothing really bad to say about him. We didn't have to embarrass him or anything. We basically did what we do best. We took his character and we create a storyline out of it. We took the situation on Twitter and create a storyline out of it. That's what we do best. So, regardless of what you people may think you are doing, or if you feel you are doing any harm to us people or humans, understand one thing. You're not as important as you think you are if you feel like you have to intentionally harm people in any kind of way. You're just going to fuel us to do what we do best. You're going to motivate us to basically enhance ourselves. And that's what we wind up doing. And that's beyond Derek Battle, who had a problem with us. And that goes to anybody else who keeps sending us messages and hating on us publicly. And the same people who hate on Die Hard publicly, and trust me, I do see it. And it does motivate me as well. Understand this, people. We're going to do what we do best, regardless whether you like it or not. But you hating on us is only going to make us better. So it's just best for you to tag along and just accept it, because if you don't, you're only going to stress yourself. Then you're basically going to turn into that kid that I described in my Rage video. You're going to be that little kid that goes to school every day, getting beat up and bullied on, feeling like crap. You want to come home and get on Xbox Live and feel better about yourself, so you start sending insults to everybody. Don't do that, because you wind up becoming something worse, and let me stop, because I don't want to say too something offensive, but
like I said, there is no rules on the TPP podcast. But, the thing is, like I said, with Michael Kelly, I wish him the best. I hope he does good in the 2 leagues he's going to.
Yep.
But, in that same breath, though, people are a dime a dozen.
Oh, God, yes.
And that's the thing. The thing is, we have so many people that come through that don't even put in applications. They just, they submit their application on Xbox, or they submit it in a YouTube message, So it's
God.
so there's so many choices, so many people that I could choose from. So when he publicly did that, sure, I was fueled at the time, with the responses I gave to him. But in all reality, like I said, I hope he does good where he's going. He wanted to be utilized every week, and I told him, there was a reason I wasn't utilizing you every week,
Oh, yeah.
And why he was on developmental and not on frontline.
Mm.
And so hopefully, he's ready for the other show he's going to. I hope that next show, which actually is going to lead into our next topic, but I hope that show is going to do good. I don't know. I haven't seen too much from it. I've only seen 2 little entrance teaser videos, things or whatever.
Yeah.
And so hopefully they do stick around weekly. Hopefully he does get utilized every week, and hopefully he ends up being like their world champion, because then he can say that he was just like AC Arthurs, who came from the power plant, because when Arthurs was in the power plant, we were on a hiatus, and he went to TXW and he got super popular, and now he's one of those guys in COD that everybody likes. Everybody likes AC Arthurs.
And to all, yeah, go ahead.
No, that's all I want to say. It's the journey. It's just a journey.
And what I want to tell the people who are in developmental, I'm pretty sure all the GMs that really have the best interest in heart, we want to see every single one of you off for the show. We want to see you on the main shows. We have no problem with anyone. The only enemy you have is yourself. If you don't put the effort in to get off the show, then you won't get off the show. We want to see people thrive. There's no vendettas.
Well, I did have one vendetta against one person I had in the power plant before, but that was last year, guys. Okay, so nothing like that now. So no worries.
We all agree.
Exactly. It's a done situation. I don't talk to him anymore. Vendetta over. Okay.
And I want to add to that too, because there's actually, for this month alone, we got a lot of newcomers in. We have over 30 people that came into the developmental, and thanks to our members who advertise and our recruiting manager who bring people in. Some people, they actually come in from other leagues, including TPP. They like, me and Die Hard aren't cool. We don't talk and this and that. I'm like, well, I know Die Hard, and he's a pretty cool guy. He's not disrespectful. Whatever y'all had, I'm pretty sure it was for a good reason. Whatever kind of problem took place, I'm pretty sure Die Hard wouldn't just disrespect anybody just for the hell of it, So we're very open. I'm not the type of person where I'm like, okay, well, you don't like Die Hard, get out of the league. We allow anybody to come in. We have yet in Power Wrestling to fire anybody. Nobody from Power Wrestling have been removed or fired. Some people left willingly, and we keep the door open. It's basically set how it is. We allow anybody and everybody to come. It all depends on you and how far you want to go. Do you want to follow the rules, follow simple instructions, and get yourself on the main show and start having fun and get your creativity out there for people to see? If not, you sit there, you be lazy, and we let you kill yourself, basically.
Well, exactly, and that's one thing, and that's why I always, for those that have filled out the application on the website and those that were moved to developmental, they saw like this kind of outline, which I was like, welcome to developmental, and it gave this outline, and we called it the AC push, which I know right now we kind of got the little chat box kind of lighting up about AC, but we call it the AC push because when Arthur's was with us, when Styles found Arthur's and was like, hey, we got to get this guy, I was like, he looks kind of basic, like he just had black trunks, black knee pads, black boots. That was it. He didn't have the raver gimmick and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I saw this match and I was like, okay, yeah, we need this guy. We definitely need this
Glad
guy.
you said that, yeah. Because and I'm pretty sure you have that same kind of mentality when you look at people. I mean, we don't care about how you look cosmetically at first. We want to see how you play in the ring. We can always help you with your gimmicks and all that. We're very open to that. We don't mind helping you. It's just, brush up your skill and train. Like, don't be too proud to think that you can't get help from someone else. We've all had to grow from somewhere, and we all had to have someone help us. There's nothing wrong with having someone tutor or help you or coach you along your way.
Exactly.
It's only improving you, no one else but you.
And these
You
people
will benefit from it.
Go ahead. I'm just getting upset.
I know. Anyone that has the same frustration.
I don't understand people. They get so upset because they won't get booked on a card or on a show. It's like, have you just followed directions, you would have no problem, And I give a special shout out to one of our members, a female at that. Her game attack is They Love Nessa, and just as a person, I love who she is because not only is she a female, she came in and did what every other guy should have done already. She came in, followed directions, and got right on the money and started doing everything she needed to do, and her character started blossoming within Power Wrestling. And I'm like, it's a perfect example, yo. She signed up, she got situated, she had a training matches with me at that, and I have very little patience to train people. She had couple training matches and was right then and there. That's what we ask for is the time to put into your own character. You want to do it, then do it. Don't sit there and waste our time and give us mouth and attitude and send me messages every day. You suck, man. Just throw me on a pay-per-view card. I'm pay-per-view status, dog. I'm pay-per-view status. I don't need no trainers.
Okay.
Stuff like that, it pisses me off. No lie. It really just frustrates me and pisses me off because we set things up professionally. We have to remind people that P in Power Wrestling stands for professional. And they get an attitude, well, I got to sign up on the website. I don't have this document. We do things conveniently for people and professionally, so we have a record. We can always go back and check your stuff, check your character. And people always want to get an attitude, and we have to constantly remind people it's professional. We set things up like a business for a reason, because we plan to grow. We expect ourselves to grow as well as the league as a whole, and that's how things should be. So these guys come in, they get an attitude, and you don't want to follow simple instructions. I mean, literally, go on a website, click on this button, fill out the questions, send. If you can send Twitter remarks, disrespectful Twitter remarks about us people, then you can send emails to sign up. Is not that hard of a problem. It's not hard at all, And that's what I brought up in one of my rage videos too. I'm just like, these kids, they get so full of themselves. They go to school and have a hard time. Then they come online and feel like they're big and bad. And because they go through all this stupidness, they miss what they need to learn in school. They can't read then. They can't write. They can't send text messages, emails, whatever the case may be, because they're so full of themselves and stuck on stupid that they can't follow simple instructions.
There's a reason Anna and I are not parents, because we don't have children, because we're not in the parenting business. We're here to run run shows. We're here to work with professional people. And when you act like a child, we send you to your parents. We don't have time for this kind of stuff. We do not.
That is very true. All right, gentlemen, so what we're going to do, final question of the night here, because we're about we got about 15 minutes or so left. So new leagues sprouting up like something that grows from the ground. I don't know. I don't farm, so I don't know many things that come from the ground other than just a few minuscule things. No, but yeah, leagues are sprouting up left and right. If you go on like the 2K forums for 14, even still for 13, I mean, there's still people launching new leagues and doing all kinds of interesting things. Yeah, I mean, they're putting all kinds of them out here. I mean, there was IWL, which is still relatively new. I know they put up their first episode. I don't know if they've done their second episode yet.
Cool.
There's, I think it's called DPW. I don't know if that is correct. If I could be wrong. I think it's like Dynasty Pro Wrestling, maybe. Maybe that's what the name is. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not cool with all the cool kids. And there's many others that I don't even know about that are getting launched almost on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah.
And so, Destiny Pro Wrestling. Okay, it's Dynasty or Destiny. I'm not sure. It's one of those. I've got James Mackay of TPP in here. That's awesome fish. And then Bread is she's in PWR if I'm not mistaken.
Ah.
So yeah, and PWR is still relatively new. They've got the first episode out. They're working on their second episode, which is cool. And but yeah, so I mean, there's so many new leagues coming out. Power Wrestling's been around for a while. Power Plant's been around too damn long.
Hey, prestige.
So for these newer leagues,
yeah,
and this is always that big thing because it happens. You see them pop up and they'll do like 1 or 2 episodes and then they'll fade away. They'll just die because of an argument within creative or something. Yeah, something stupid and minuscule that should have been handled totally different.
The best advice I can give is, just stay true to yourself and remember why you started it. If it's positive, remember why you started it, and remember that it's all for the benefit of having fun.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing. Like, it's always going to be about having fun. Like, I mean, I don't make the show expecting to get 1 million views.
Yeah. I can tell you right now, like, me and Animal, we're lames. We're not gonna hide it. We're lames.
I'm a professional lame.
Yes, professional lame. And when we finish our shows, like kids, we sit in a party and watch our own shows. Like we're just like 12 years old watching Raw or something. This is what we do.
It's fun. We have fun, Our members, they get a kick out of it too, because they sit there and they know we put the show together. Even though we know what's going to happen, we watch like we don't know what's going to happen. But it's all in good fun, because at the end of the day, we doing the same thing everybody else is doing. That's bringing our visions and creativity to life. So it's all about having fun with what you're creating. Be proud of yourself. And, and Dahad, I think you should put a link to a video of the last podcast we did, because we also touched that subject on what it takes to run a league, a successful league. And for those new leagues coming up, you guys should definitely listen to that podcast and understand what it takes to have a successful league, because you're going to need those things. And one of those things is communication. That's between you and your members. You're also going to need an open mind. You got to have an open mind to a lot of things, because trust me, there are going to be people who want to call you assholes because you don't listen to them or you don't want to hear what they got to say. It comes to a point where you have to understand, aside from the video game, if you're going to start a league, it's the same thing as starting a business, and you're going to be the person that people go to. So when people go to you, you're going to have to be open to them. You're going to have them like you, and the only way for people to like you is if they can relate to you. And there's not going to be any relations if you're an asshole. So please be open-minded to your members and to other league owners, because believe me, I'm telling you right now, I already got the leagues that Die Hard wrote down, and I will contact these league owners because that's who I am. I'm a friendly person. I like to learn from people as well as people can learn from me. I have no problem with it. I reached out to PWR too, and they was nice enough to talk back and have a conversation with me. It's stuff like that where it gets your league credibility, it gets your league respect, because when you get respect from other leagues, you have people talking about your leagues to other people. Then, like Die Hard and I, you start advertising each other's leagues, and it all works as a whole together. Everybody is helping each other out, as well as having their friendly competition and their entertaining shows.
Exactly.
You could come on podcasts like this with Die Hard and not have a problem with the people you're talking to. You know, me and Die Hard never got into an argument. Me and Afro never got into an argument. It's all about respect. It's that mutual respect and having an open mind. And I'll tell it like it is right now. There was times where Afro came to me with ideas and I'm wary about, and I'm pretty sure it happened vice versa. But it's all about having an open mind and giving a thought about it. You gotta think about things before you just be an asshole and reject people at your way only, you know, because at the end of the day, it works out. And I guarantee you all, if you have an open mind, only the best comes out of it. Plenty of times me and Afro had ideas and we both probably was like, but it wound up turning into something better than what we thought it would. And
you know, and that's something I want to touch on too.
Yeah.
The ideas, you know, feeding off of ideas, because I get this a lot too, and we get this a lot in TPP, but people come to us with an idea, and sometimes they'll get turned off by, it's not that I deny the idea, but I try to expand it into something else, you know, and then I try to work their idea into it because that's the thing. A lot of people, they can be creative, but they just need to be a little bit more expansive when they do their creative process. And I mean, it hasn't been happening recently. You know, lately we've been having a really good kind of idea chemistry, you know, in amongst our little creative thing we're doing. But for a little bit there, we had one person was coming to us with an idea, and I was like, well, this is a good idea, but what if, you know, we did this first and then it would lead into that. And they were kind of hesitant to do it, but they did it, and it came out really good, which was apparent right before Blood and Glory, our last CPV event before Network Collision, which is this weekend. Because that was the original idea was something else. And so I just expanded it, and I don't want to say I forced the expansion on, but I forced it on. I made it happen because at the end of the day, you know, if I think, and this is going to sound like a total plug from WWE, but the best for business type motto, you know.
Hey man,
Like I know
ship.
what I want to. Yeah, exactly. I know what I want to see, you know, and I'm pretty sure I'm pretty in tune with what the TPP people want to see. I think we do a pretty good job of booking, you know, the storylines, and we try to be as creative as possible and give everybody as much input as possible. But sometimes we do have a storyline that just would make no logical sense at that time.
Hey, at the end of the day, it's just still your show. I mean, you're not trying to stifle anyone, but you know what's best for your product. And sometimes, you know, your roster and members have to remember that.
Yeah, they have a hard time grasping.
Yes.
You gotta. A lot of times people don't understand too. You know, you don't want to give spoilers. You know, you care a lot about your product. You care a lot about your stories. You don't want to tell people, well, this happened because this is going to happen. People who don't understand that it's still a show, and we have to give you a reason to watch it. We're not going to tell you what's going to happen or why you should do this, because, you know, and I'll tell you all right now, Power Wrestling, we don't predetermine anything. Afro and I, we're just creative clocks off the bat, you know. So our matches are never predetermined, and our stories are never predetermined. We make up things as we go, and we're just very quick and efficient with our stuff. So when things happen on the fly, we think about how to adapt and how to do this, how to do that, certain things like that. Nothing is ever predetermined, you know, more than like a week ahead. I may have ideas, but those ideas always change because adapting. And I like to write. I'm a very strong writer, and even when I'm traveling, I write. But my writing always wound up getting changed because different things happen, and it's about adapting. And that same thing for you members out there. You gotta be able to adapt to what's going on instead of trying to push yourself in one direction. You gotta adapt to your environment. Understand that there's other competition out there that's in that ring with you or in the league with you. You're gonna have different ideas coming in different directions. You have to collaborate as one and make yourself look good while we focus on making the whole show look good. You know, understand that.
Oh yeah, and that's the biggest key factor, you know. And again, it comes back to communication, because you have to be able to find a way to relay, you know, your ideas or their ideas with one another, and that's usually the barrier. That's what causes most new leagues to, I don't want to say die, because it's so forever. That's a forever term.
Yeah.
When you say die, you know. But yeah, exactly. You know, it's a really. That's if you have no communication, or if you want to run things like well, I'm the only thing that's gonna do the storylines, then it's gonna fade away. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna crumble. It's gotta be able to evolve.
Yeah.
Because if it can't, if it doesn't evolve, then it becomes like so many other places. And there was other places that showed they were, yeah, exactly, very stagnant. And there was other, like GCW. That one looked like it was going to be pretty promising. They said they were going to do like a weekly show and stuff. And I think they made it to their second episode, and then, or maybe they didn't even make it to their second episode. But they had, I guess, some kind of argument between one another, and it was, I guess, unreconcilable. And they, called it quits.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have too many conflicting egos and personalities. I guess, sometimes you're just fortunate, like Animal and I are just fortunate that we very like-minded to an extent, and we have good chemistry. Sometimes you just have that good chemistry where you can set aside your own personal things and, work toward a common goal. I mean, sometimes, those mixtures don't work in every circumstance.
Yep.
That's very true, and it's unfortunate that everybody can't always get along. I mean,
yeah.
Lord knows I would love to be friends with everybody, but I know that
We're
that
just not
won't
made
happen.
up that way.
Exactly, and again, it's because we're all human. We all have certain likes and dislikes, and some of us don't like certain creeds, colors, races, religions, whatever. Or certain leagues, and for what we talk about, certain people just will ever like the power plant, and you know what? I'm okay with that, because I love it when I get the negative comments or I get like the dislike on the video, because that means I'm doing something right. I made you tune in long enough to thumb down, even if you only go there for 30 seconds. You were there long enough to either hear Christopher Billings say, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen," or you were there long enough to hear Die Hard say, "Ha ha ha, I'm Die Hard," something like that. Whatever I may say as Die Hard, that's the thing, and that's one thing that people need to remember is, the Die Hard character is not, me. It's just my character.
Right.
I tend to be I think I'm a decent guy for the most part. The Die Hard is a douchebag. I ain't gonna lie, he's a douchebag. But Tony, the real me, I think I'm relatively nice, for the most part, and
Hey,
I'd like to believe that.
Yeah, I think you're a cool guy. I have no problem with you. I honestly can't see why all these other people have problems with you, and they want to publicize arguments and stuff like that. But that's just people.
That is true.
Kids.
All right, gentlemen, the final minute and 45 seconds, shameless plug time. That is what we're going to call this from now on, shameless plug.
I have no shame in being shameless.
So, of course, tomorrow night, Frontline will be live streamed. We'll do our Livewire live stream at 6:45 or 6:30. 6:45. Be on at 6:30 tomorrow. You get to see the little live stream matches, and then you'll get to see myself and McNabb doing like this kind of play-by-play commentary. And then we also will have Livewire Frontline at 8 o'clock. And I think you guys are going to enjoy episode 23. Okay, I don't want to spoil anything, but you guys are going to like it. And then, of course, Saturday, TPP Network Collision, 6:30 p.m. On Eastern Time Zone. It will be the podcast, much like this, except it'll be the TPP guys, and it'll be a Q&A. Ask anything you want to ask. You want to ask me what it's like to run Google AdWords for videos? Go ahead, because it's very expensive. If you want to ask me, how long I've been married, go ahead. I will gladly tell you. If you want to ask how old Die Hard is in the game, although it has been publicized, he recently celebrated his 44th birthday, but in real life, I'm not 44. But, and then Network, like I said, Network Collision, 8 o'clock on Saturday night, and then for Power, go ahead, guys, and do your shameless plug.
Mr. Animal?
Oh, sorry. Friday, we got Friday Night Fire. That's Afro Gentleman. That's his Friday Night Fire show.
Fight on Friday night.
Continuing our storylines leading into our Sunday pay-per-view. This week and weekend is very busy for us as well. So not only do we have Friday Night Fire, we have High Voltage, which is supposed to be up on Saturday, which is the rookie show. So the rookies will have their chance to be viewed and be voted off onto a main brand. So you can tune into that Saturday. Sunday will be our Injustice pay-per-view. Even if you have not followed storylines, I would like you guys to go to our website. We keep a timeline there. You can view superstar pages and storylines, and everything will still be there. And Injustice should be a very fun pay-per-view. Everybody dress up as a superhero villain. It'll be amazing to watch. And trust me, you'll like what you see. So that'll be Sunday, no earlier than 6 o'clock. The earliest is 6 p.m. Eastern time. Injustice pay-per-view should be up.
Yep.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you see here, Eddie Guerrero, Uncle Eddie here, beat Chris Jericho in the 60-minute Iron Man match.
Oh, man. I'm a Jericho fan.
I am too, but
I'm a Guerrero fan, man. Texas all the way.
Minus
that's
2
right.
points.
Uncle Eddie.
That's all right. I'll get him back.
But all right, guys, so thank you for joining us tonight. Of course, I'm Die Hard, and we had Admin Animal and Afro of Power Wrestling with us. And, hopefully I get back to kind of doing the podcast on a regular basis. I was so busy the past few weeks, and I was like, oh, man, I don't have any topics. And I just kind of started collecting these topic lists here, and I think we talked about some really good stuff tonight. So, thanks for joining me, guys. And then
Yes, sir.
to you viewers, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And thank you for being so lively in the chat box. Made my night.
Awesome. Appreciate it.